without asking for too much. Hello, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Let's Drone Out. Tonight, we have a traitor among us. He has now joined the drone side. Hello, Mr. Andrew Newton, our guest tonight.
Good morning, good evening, whatever.
It don't matter. It's morning for you, my friend. We've got our Lord and Master, the Dark Lord himself, Andrew Frank.
Good evening.
Dressed all in black is my little vegan sausage, Tony.
Bonjour.
Who is not drinking tonight, editor, so it should be an easy load for you. We got the wonderful and beautiful Blue Owl.
Hi, that's me.
And how is Daddy? Is he getting better? Everyone's favourite curry kitten.
Hello.
How's the knee?
Still sore, but getting better day by day.
I thoroughly enjoyed Curry Kitten Wednesday yesterday. Thank you so much.
It's all right. I think we're both left in a slight state of confusion. What was going on? It was fun anyway.
That video game should be called Confusion, not Contradiction. Yeah, Tony, Winter Blue in chat asks, what's wrong with Tony? Why aren't you drinking?
I'm making sure I'm not an alcoholic by not drinking for 5 days.
I'm not sure that's how that works.
I don't know if that sounds
But
right.
Here's the resolution that
5
we started on the 2nd.
Well,
Well,
isn't
If it
that-
was
isn't
7
that-
days, I mean, that would make sense. But 5 days?
I need some sleep. I've been having broken sleep the last 3 nights, so I'm hoping tonight I'll sleep. And if I don't, then getting drunk tomorrow night will make me sleep. Cheers.
That doesn't sound alcoholic. at all.
Not at all.
Look, if you're an alcoholic, you can't stop drinking. I've proved to myself that I can stop for 5 days, so I'm not one.
Stop whatever I want. Anyway, hello, Happy New Year. If anyone was with us on the New Year stream, Andrew Newton, that's you were, unfortunately for you. I'm ever so sorry to put you through that. A miracle showed up today. But anyone who's really sort of invested, no, Frank still hasn't paid for the website yet.
Oh, dear.
Thing.
We're still getting
Literally
emails.
in front of me, and I just haven't done it.
Yeah, no worries. But thank you.
Come on, then.
We could pay for it if we need to. And when so if you're wondering why the website isn't working or ever updating, it's because we haven't paid it for a very long time. So anyway, Andrew Newton, my dear friend, I chatted to you once on a solo interview. I kind of like warmed you up to this.
Yeah.
And I hope you're not too traumatized or from it.
Oh, disappointed.
I remember years and years ago when you first asked me to come on, and I thought I had a bit of a look at the people you'd spoken to, and it was people, it was significant people who knew what they were talking about, and I thought, what the hell does he want me on? I can't compete with these people. Like it was, who was it? Final Glide and Alex Grieve, I think, and all those important people, and so I have to say I avoided you for quite a while.
It's fine.
but you got me in the end.
Yeah, like the thing is, it's like yours and Curry Kitten's. For me personally, anyway, your content is very like, there is a bit of a wing there, and you're not like just drones and eyeliner.
Yeah.
So for me, like that was really, and like I learn a lot from you guys. I know you don't feel like hardcore technical or anything, but the whole like don't stick a flight controller in it, see if it flies on its own first.
Yeah.
And everything's COG. That one was for you, Frank. And yeah, I enjoyed your content, and like it doesn't, shouldn't compare yourself to other people. I mean, we let Tony on this podcast.
Yeah.
It's better than a normal reaction instead of thinking, I'm not good enough to be in this company. Most people think, well, how did they get those people on? They know what they're talking about. I'm not worthy. It'd be interesting because I saw your one you did with Jack, and Jack was sort of taking notes about how to set up his wing. And normally, what this is common state of occurrence because we all log onto Jack's computer and we sort out his sound issues, and then at the end of the day, we'll just unplug them in differently. So, Jack, have you taken on that advice and have you set up your wing properly and has it flown yet?
I'd let someone else fly it. So much so, yeah, it was very good. My friend, I got this friend Tom who helped build my desk, and yeah, it's flown. He's a bit he's a bit worried in that, and he's chipped like the front end of my winglet off, which sucks a little bit. But yep, it does fly, and I need to buy like a Maytech board to stick in the what is it called? The S800 I think, or whatever I had, S600, S800 I think, and swap the flight controls over because obviously I've got the Flight Test Explorer, and I tried to use like a SPF F3 board in that, and it's just too far behind, and then the OSD stopped talking to it.
I don't use anything but the Maytech wing boards these days. It just makes life so much easier. It's the documentation is so good on the website that other companies should take a leaf out of their book, I think.
Yeah, basically that's all that's kind of happened to me, is that I just could not get that little. I was trying to build that sort of thing on a budget so that if it flew off on me, I wouldn't be too upset. So, but, I don't know. So, but sooner or later, I need to buy one at some point because let's face it, the Frank will tell you the EU and sort of shipping trading stuff. Do you want to talk about that, Frank?
No.
Frank doesn't want to talk about anything for a while. He wants a break, don't you?
I've had that question multiple times this week at work of how do we ship things to the EU now?
You don't.
Frank's on strike. I suggested we talk about the new rules, but he said he hasn't read them, and none of us can be bothered to read them. We rely on Frank to do this, and then put it in idiot-proof language for the rest of us.
I've got a lot of reading to do of various rules, and I'm procrastinating.
I would just like to say to Andrew that I am most impressed and jealous because I have this plane that I call it's sort of my nemesis, which is the FX-79 Buffalo wing.
Oh, yeah.
A long time building, and I got my friend to fly it while I was trying to take off line of sight, and it did this graceful curve, smashed into the ground, and it exploded. So we had to rebuild it, do it all again, and then my friend threw it in such a dodgy way, it basically cartwheeled and broke. And it wasn't till the fourth launch we actually got this thing flying, and then we spent a while and it was flying really smoothly. We were tuning the autopilot, got it all sorted. I landed it and let's get up, we'll do some chase things. And basically the Fly Dream autopilot fried, and I powered it on, and all the servos just twitched and blew up. And, Andrew's video is like he builds it, he throws it, and it flies, which is most disturbing. But also,
well, I didn't have an autopilot on it. That's probably the reason why it flew so well. I mean, it's got so much wing area, it'll just fly by itself. Basically, I've taken that one out slope soaring, and it's just magnificent in the air. It just flies itself.
I think the problem was that every time someone threw it for me, I'll get someone else to throw it because it hasn't got much of a grip, has it?
No, it is big and awkward, isn't it?
A flat thing. And whenever they threw it, they thought, I'll throw it upwards.
Yeah.
And it's big and heavy, so it instantly goes into stall mode and goes down again. If you sort of throw it downwards, then it gathers speed and it gets going. When we eventually sort of discovered that. But that was like after throwing it into the ground 4 times. We got there in the end. It's still on my wall as I will get to it eventually as my project.
It's a big fellow, isn't it?
It is.
Have you flown that yellow thing you were making over Christmas?
No, he's talking about I built a mini Guinea.
That's
Andrew,
it.
I hope you're very proud of me.
Yeah.
I've got to figure out the whole dihedral thing, but no, I've almost wired it up. I've got to tie the elevons together, and then solder up. I've got a less than ideal. You know those really tiny free sky receivers that are like D8 and have got like one side's positive, the other side's negative, and then you got like 8 channels or 6 on the bottom. I've got to try and make a little breakout for that, like on a bit of perf board or something. But it's I should really get into buying those new fancy pants. Painless sent it to me. The
Radio Star
receivers, yeah. So because
the
obviously
16 D16 or something like that, is it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and it's because I'm on the I've got like the new Tyrannus. It's compatible, and I went through the wizard, and I was shocked that there's nothing for what is it? No, differential thrust. So I was like, oh my god, I've got to set that up myself.
You got to watch one of my videos.
I know. I'm gonna have to sit there and rock back and forth and get into the programming.
It's funny, but I actually really enjoy the programming part of it. For some reason, it's just something that I enjoy. Yeah.
I should. Yeah, I'm not too bad with it. Like I remember when I first done it, and I'd like never done anything like it before. I really struggled, and but yeah, it's not too bad. What is Tony doing?
People are saying that I'm drinking slyly in the chat every time I turn my camera off. It's not true. I'm not chugging whiskey.
No, as a partial functioning alcoholic, it's just vodka in that bottle.
Methylated spirits, maybe.
Oh, good.
They don't like it when you go into B&Q and ask if they got a cold one.
So we should ask the normal question to Andrew about how did you get into RC flying and especially FPV? How long have you been doing it?
My first exposure to RC was back in high school, way back in 75 or something like that. I had a friend who was into RC. He was the ultimate geek nerd with no social skills, but brilliant with technology. And he had RC gear. I was into sailing, so we decided to try and make a radio-controlled land yacht, like a little, sail on a little cart that was radio-controlled, and that went reasonably well. Sort of forgot about it until many years later, and then I had another go at making a land yacht, maybe 10 years ago, I suppose. And then I was into kite aerial photography, so flying cameras from big kites, basically. So I made up a pan and tilt gimbal that was radio controlled for the camera to hang from the kite. Then I saw one of my kite aerial photography contacts started following Ed O'Byrne or Experimental Airlines, and he was making really nice planes just by folding foam board. This was sort of almost pre-flight test, I think, but maybe around the same time. And it just fascinated me that you could make these really nice airfoils out of foam board. So I thought I'll give that a go. So then I bought some basic RC gear and tried to fly these homemade foam board contraptions. And yeah, the bug just bit me then, and I've been flying ever since. And FPV, I just bought some basic FPV gear and threw it on a plane. Once I could fly properly and I had a plane that was stable enough that I didn't have to concentrate too much on flying it, I thought, okay, I can give this FPV a fly. And yeah, so some basic FPV gear, mounted it on the plane, and I can remember how terrified I was the first time I flew it up, and managed to land it, and just thought it was fantastic. I wanted to see how far I could go with just really cheap, basic 5.8 gigahertz gear. So I went down the beach, and I was just going to. We've got these nice big long beaches that are virtually deserted around here because there are better beaches.
Because of all the sharks and the box jellyfish. Things trying to kill you.
Look, we've only had 8 deaths this year from sharks. Would you believe? That's
not so bad. If you put it into context with coronavirus, it's pretty good, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. So I went down the beach, and there's a beach that's about 5 kilometres of sort of deserted beach that I can fly along, and just flew. This is before flight control boards or anything like that were common. Or that I knew about them. So I just decided to fly down the beach until I lost control of it, and I knew I'd be able to walk along and pick it up. So I think I made it about 800 meters down the beach before I lost video and RC control at the same time. And that was sort of how I got into it, really. But FPV isn't the major part of my flying. It's interesting. I like it, but I enjoy taking the goggles off and actually watching the plane as well. Yeah.
And making videos, right?
And making videos. I do, yeah. I sometimes say my hobby is actually making videos rather than flying planes or anything like that, because that's the part of it that I like. And I think if you don't like video editing and shooting video and things like that, you're going to struggle to maintain your channel. But it's something that I really enjoy. Yeah. And it's been part of my job all my life too, because I'm a medical photographer. So part of my work was video editing and image editing and things like that as well. So my father was a photographer as well. So it's just in the blood, really. Yeah.
Medical photographer.
It sounds like when someone falls down, you'll be like, "Don't wipe that blood away yet. Let me just get that for you.
Let me get a ruler and a camera." I worked in an eye hospital, the Royal Victorian Eye and Ear Hospital. So I was doing a bit similar to a radiographer, but we're not trained with X-rays or anything like that. We take care of all the photographic tests, I guess. And in an eye hospital, there are lots and lots of photographic-based tests. So I spent my life, getting people to put their head on the camera and me photographing retinas and irises.
How does that work? Like, I never understood. Like,
it's very clever optics.
Yeah, like getting a picture of a reflection, I think, is it?
Not really, no. Oh, well, there are lots of different clever scanning laser machines, but most of my work was purely photographic because, they put dilating drops in your eyes, your pupils will go nice and big, and then it's basically clear right back to the inside back surface of the eye, back to the retina. And I'd be photographing retinas while the doctor was injecting a fluorescent drug into the patient's arm, and I'd photograph the dye coming through, filling up blood vessels.
Wow.
Yeah. It's interesting because the dye they inject turns you bright yellow, and your urine is bright green for the rest of the day, and certain amount of people want to throw up when they have the injection as well. So that was my life for about 30 years. Yeah. But we also did all the PR photography, creating educational materials like posters and back when I started, we were doing photographic slides for lectures and things like that.
Tony's the only one who knows what a slide is.
I know what the dye stuff's all about because me and my best friend were nightclubbing. It was a few years back, and he got a fag straight in the eye. A cigarette straight in the eye.
Yeah.
Bruce, and it literally melted his eyeball. It was disgusting. And we went to the hospital, and they done that and then took photos of it, but it literally healed within a couple of days. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But it looked disgusting.
Yeah, that fluorescein dye, it's sort of greeny yellow, and that would have If you had gone back to the nightclub and danced under the black light, it would have glowed bright green.
Oh my word!
Wicked.
I had a buddy who got exhaust paste in his eye, and it gave him like chemical conjunctivitis. And we had water bottles, and we were like, I was rinsing his eye and everything. And we got there, and the doctor asked how many liters of how much water did you rinse it with, and I was like, well, we both had a 2 liter bottle, so probably about 1.5 liters of like what's left. And he's like, was it sterile? And we were like, no, but ish. And then when he walked out, my buddy was like, well, you could have told him it was strawberry flavoured. Mine was lemon and his was strawberry. Yeah, so but yeah, he just gave him some golden eye drops and he was good.
Yeah.
Mr. Shady in the chat. Sorry.
You go.
I was just going to say, Mr. Shady in the chat was saying line of sight flying could be more fun than FPV, especially in windy conditions, as long as you don't just fly around in circles. I think definitely slope soaring as well. Kind of. Yeah.
I do a lot of slope soaring. That's my main passion, I think. Yeah. And that came about because when I first started to fly, we're in a reasonably windy place. We never get really calm days here. It's always at least sort of 10, 15 knots worth of wind. So I was struggling trying to fly on the flat ground in the wind. And then I found out about slope soaring. So I went down the beach and realised that we have all these beautiful dunes that there are hang gliders taking off from. So I thought those places must be good for slope soaring. So started slope soaring, and the first time I threw a plane off the cliff and it stayed up there. It's just like magic, really. It's incredible. And the batteries don't matter anymore. You can run the thing all day on a tiny battery and don't have to worry about ESCs and motors and that sort of stuff. It's much better.
Like what I wouldn't give, because at the moment, for a while till Curry Kitten sorted me out, I've been learning to fly line of sight with the flight test tiny trainer. She had a bit of a hard life, but
you'll destroy your first few planes.
The first battery, like some of my batteries would like block up the airflow, and I was using those like 12 amp, BL Heli Emax, and if you're really going for it, after a while, it just reboots halfway. It's like like no control whatsoever. Hi, girls and guys, newbie from Bolton, loving your podcast. Oh, thank you, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Hello.
Any requests? Please email tonestar@gmail.
Shut up.
What is your email, Tony? Anyway,
no comment.
How are you getting on with the Pro, the AR Wing Pro?
I decided I don't like it very much the other day. I mean, it's good. It's great the way it's laid out with all the extra space for mounting all your FPV gear, but it's very, very rocky. It's quite unstable. Maybe it takes more tuning time than I've spent on it, but I really prefer this one, the C1 Chaser. That's one of the smoothest and most efficient wings around, I think, and I prefer flying this to the AR Wing Pro. And even the AR Wing itself, the original, it's a lot less fuss, easier, or less hassle to fly, I think. I think the Pro could be good, serves a purpose. It's more of a, long range. You can load it up with more gear, more places to put gear, but it just rock and rolls a bit too much for my liking at the moment. So anyway, I've put mine away for the moment. I'll get back to it eventually and spend some more time with it. But and it kind of pains me to say that, because your mate Lee painless had something to do with the design of that. And I'm in awe of that guy. He's one of my gurus. I watch his videos before I do mine. So
I can't text him and be like, yo, we knew shit about you again.
It's a great wing.
Are you flying it just kind of straight pass through, or have you got a flight controller in there, or how?
Yeah, got a flight. Well, the initial tests were always as usual, as you should, without a flight controller, just to see how it actually flies. And yes, I have put a flight controller in it recently. I have to admit, I haven't done any decent tuning or anything like that. And there are Mark Hoffman over on the INAV fixed wing group has done an extensive amount of tuning. So I just have to watch what he's done, and I'm sure it'll improve the performance out of sight. But at this stage, I've put it aside because I've got other things to get on with, like this monstrosity.
Ooh, that looks entertaining and weird.
Yeah, very weird.
Oh yeah, I think I saw a post. Was it on Instagram? Were you saying, or it might pop up on YouTube about you feeling a little bit intimidated by all the quite large props?
Exactly, the size of the 9-inch props.
It looks like Jack was flying one of his wings round, and Tony was flying his X-Class, and they had a slight accident.
Yeah. But I haven't actually got it flying yet, and it's come from a company called Foxtech, and I think they do a lot of industrial and agricultural multi-rotors, like big, $20,000 machines with gimbals and spraying units and that sort of stuff. And this is their entry into the recreational market, I suppose.
See, I'm sure it'd be fine either as a quad or a plane. It's the question of how well is it going to transition between the two, and how frightening is that going to be when you hit the switch.
That's right. Well, I say as a quad, it's meant to have 18-minute flight time, and as a wing, 40-minute flight time. So it's pretty decent flight time, and it can. It's all set up with ArduPilot, and it's got the long range 2.4 RC, so it's got at least a 10-kilometer range apparently. But it's so new, and it relies on, you have a phone. It comes with a controller like the DJI controller, and you mount your phone on it, connect up the USB, connect Bluetooth between the phone and the controller, and just all of these things haven't been properly finalized yet. So I think
what could possibly go wrong?
Well, I've had it for a week, and I haven't been able to fire it up at all yet. And I've got back to the company, and they said, "Oh no, you need an app to So I'll say, "Where's the app? Where do I download it from?" "Oh, here's. We'll send it to you." So they've sent me this app, which is just like the DJI Fly, all those sorts of GPS drone sort of apps. But what else? Yes, then they've got this little 4-minute tutorial video is the only instructions they've released. They don't have a manual or anything like that. And this thing's based on ArduPilot, which is not easy at all to pick up, if you haven't looked at it before. So I followed the little tutorial, and I just couldn't get anything to work, anything to connect. And then they said, "Oh no, you've got to connect it via Bluetooth." So we'll edit the video and put that in. So I finally worked out how to connect it via Bluetooth, and now I'm at the stage where I can connect it via Bluetooth, and I can discover GPSs, discover satellites, but it still thinks it's in China. It hasn't translated to my home position. It is, in my backyard in Australia. So anyway, we're getting there slowly. They've just yesterday they emailed me and said, "Oh, would you mind just holding off for a few days? We'll give you a few more instructions so that we make sure you don't crash it." Because I think, as far as I know, this is the only one they've sent out to the public.
I think that might be just the only one. Because it doesn't sound like they've managed to get it flying themselves yet. Perhaps they thought you might develop the app for them.
There is video of it flying, but not ready for public release just yet, I don't think. So that's why I'm a bit scared. And also on their on their video, they explain the controls for mode 2, but what they're actually describing is mode 1. So they really haven't got that sort of stuff sorted out. I can't fly mode 1 at all. So I'm scared that once I get it in the air, it's going to be, impossible for me to fly.
That's weird. If you started with wings way back in the times, why are you on mode 2? Normally, at least in Europe, people who start with wings, they fly mode 1.
In Australia, it's 50-50. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
In Australia, it's probably 50-50. I think in the US, they're mode 2, and in Japan, they're mode 1 or something like that. Australia was originally mode 1, but I just thought, I kind of started by myself. I didn't have any other reference when I first started. So I just thought that mode 2 is more like flying a plane with a joystick. So I thought that makes sense to me. I'll start with mode 2. And just coincidentally, the first transmitter that I got was mode 2. So that's what I am forevermore.
Yeah.
Don't mind Blue Owl. She's just a little bit. She's against mode 1ers. That's why we had to kick Andy RC off.
Am I? That's new.
We had to kick Andy RC off in order to get her on. So he's mode 1.
So you guys mode 1 or mode 2?
2.
2.
I look like I'm a criminal.
Oh, and I am against mode 1, right?
So Blue Owl, you fly mode 2, didn't you?
Yeah, I do. I started with quad, so there was nothing else I knew.
Yeah, see, she's not a wrong one.
It's only Andy.
Yeah, they're funny up there. The old the old Chip Spice and Baby's Yed and all that.
But Andrew, you've recently gone over to the dark side and you've built a quad. Is that correct?
That is correct.
How did that come about? What happened? Did you fall on your head?
I have had a tricopter and built a tricopter before. David Vindersdale's, the RC Explorer tricopter back when that was around. I still have a brand new KK2 board that I was going to change it over to eventually.
Was it on KK1?
No, just KK2. And I also made a little wooden quad back then, which was that must be 4 years ago or something like that, 5 years ago. One of my friends gave me a 5-inch frame, and I had 4 motors that matched and 4 ESCs that matched and some 5-inch props. So I tried to make a 5-inch quad, and I'm not really interested in beta flight. I understand INAV, and I want to have the GPS and the return to home and the missions and all that sort of stuff. So my little 5-inch quad went okay for a little while until I think one of my screws went too far in and started shorting out the motor and just ruined everything. So I put that aside. And then I heard Pavel talking about his Perk 7 and how well that was going on INAV. So basically he convinced me with his videos to have a go, and yeah, I love it. It's most impressive. There goes the H-wing.
And it's not flying now.
No, that's right.
Sorry,
yeah,
folks,
so,
I broke it.
Yeah, so there it is. Does that look all right? Does that look normal?
Yeah,
I really enjoy making up these little.
Looks pretty normal to me.
Does it?
Yeah, what is that 7-inch size then, or?
Yeah.
It is 7-inch, yes.
And you've got, presumably that's a compass and a GPS, because you've got that quite close. Does that still work okay? Because normally you have to put compasses far away from the carbon.
Yes, that is. It's a BTN BN880. So yeah, it seems to be working okay as far as I can tell. Cool. I haven't pushed it, too far over the horizon or anything like that, but it's seems to be working all right.
A lot of 3D on there.
Yeah, all the
Frank,
bits and
that
pieces.
will excite you.
Yeah, I love designing the little 3D printed bits. But yeah, I'm basically following Pavel's photos, and he's got it roughly in that position. So Seems to work okay.
Oh, Pavel. Oh, I miss my little meerkat friend.
But something I've done a couple of times is put it into return to home, and then when it gets close to home, it just wigs out and slams into the ground for some reason. I haven't worked out what is triggering that switch out of return to home nice and gently and then slam into the ground yet.
It sounds like it's gone back to Betaflight code. That's Betaflight's return to home. It just crashes close by.
Yeah, it could be.
Well, I've never had that in all my years of iNav. Really?
How many iNav quads have you
Yeah,
had,
none.
Yeah. What do you mean none?
Well,
Show us an iNav quad.
Done. Not the one what we set fire to.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't think that. I thought that was DJI flight controller in that. Was it iNav?
I have never that DJI unit I bought for 90 and then sold for like 70 on eBay. I never used it. I was going to, but yeah, the POS, the poo copter was it. Then I made another one with some spare parts with the electro hub, and I've got that one there. This is so weird. There, the quad hanging up there. That's also iNav. That's 3.
Has that ever flown? Because that's the one with the gimbal that doesn't work, isn't it?
Yeah, the gimbal doesn't work, but everything else does. And I also went for testing, and I forgot to hit save on loads of the modes, so it hovers quite well, and then wanders with the wind, with very little instruction. It stayed up in the air, and I was like, "This is a bit weird. This, it's not holding its position very well." And stuck it in return to home, didn't do anything. Flew it back to me, landed, took it. What's wrong with it? Plugged it in. Forgot to hit save mode switches, didn't I? So it was just flying an acro up there. Just
mine took ages. I've got the TBS sat on my 7-inch, and I flew I left it on the ground for 2 minutes, and then I flew for about 4 minutes out, and after about 2 minutes, I got 8 satellites. So that took about 5 minutes to get 8 satellites, and I was in the middle of like nowhere, so you could see the sky. It took so long, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I found like I found like some of the old. Is it the big round TBS one? Is it?
No, it's little new square one.
I don't know about them, but I found like the U-Blocks 8 chips are incredible. They're like proper like bang quick. And
yeah, there's a Brain 3D one that's supposed to be really, really quick.
Yeah.
So I might swap it out for that if I don't get it working very well. But I didn't trust to flick return to home. I just used it to see which way back home was. But
Numbskull's got a good point. Little tip with GPS: first plugging, angle the quad, and it picks them up quicker. The other thing you can do as well, which really helps with GPS, is if you've got a way to power the GPS first without the quad booting up, so there's a lot less noise, and that really helps. Because your first initial plug-in it's like you got something called cold start, where it's not used to. It's like, where the hell am I? And then that's what the little coin cell battery is on the back of them, on some of them, and that will store your last. So if you keep going to the regular same old flying field, it just gets quicker and quicker because it's.
I heard there's a startup thing. I mean, I put it in my garden and it got 5, and I thought, I'll go out, and that was a cloudy, horrible day because it is England. And then I went to down near Brighton, Hidden Valley, and thought, this is going to pick it up easy now. And it got 5, and I thought, sod it, I'm going to take off. And then it took ages till I got 8. I was flying, and then it suddenly went, you've got 8 satellites, by the way. And I was like, okay.
I don't know if this is a thing or I've accidentally discovered something, but when I've had GPSs on the ground in a quad and I've plugged in, and I get like 4 or 5 satellites, and I'm literally waiting 10 minutes, and I get a bit fed up, and I think I'll take it for a little bit of a fly. As soon as I'm in the air flying around, it jumps up to like 12 satellites, and I'm like, is there something about the proximity to the ground? Does it create some sort of weird ground planey thing in which it doesn't like being on the ground? Because as soon as I've got those 12 satellites, it's happy. Or is it just coincidence? Because it's happened like more than once. Being in the air, it's like, well, you're closer to the satellites now. Previously, you were like 10 feet down, but now you're higher up. They can see them. I don't know. It's weird.
The ground's magnetic. It's picking up all the frog energy, and it's disrupting.
Oh, no, I've generated a Tony thing.
Yeah.
Some of those little BN 220, BN 220, the ones that you get with the little co-pilot flight control board, and a lot of sort of the ready to fly have the little BN 220. Some of them can take 20 minutes to get satellites down. So yeah, some of them just take ages for some reason. I don't know why.
The other trick I've heard to kind of help them out is to unplug your VTX, or with like the Maytech boards with the switchable BEC, so you can turn your VTX off, and it's just like something else less that it's having to compete with.
Mine was on my DJI quad, so I had the air unit in, which I obviously had to run at 25 milliwatt before I took off, and then I upped it only a little bit to 26, and then flew. But you know, I sat there so I didn't fry my.
600 microwatts, yeah, Tony.
Yes, that's what I meant. Yes,
I'm loving the Nostromo t-shirt, by the way.
Yeah. These come from England. There's a place called Last Exit to Nowhere that does all these movie-related and TV-related obscure T-shirts. So that's where I buy them from your neck of the woods.
No, God, you should deliver it to one of us and we can forward it on to you. But don't buy anything from us anymore because apparently Brexit. So we're screwed. We're gonna have to outsource our T-shirt shop now.
So what happened with Brexit? Do you guys actually want Brexit, or is it something that happened because someone had an idea and it just kept rolling, or what's the deal?
The rule is about Brexit. You can't talk about Brexit.
Fair enough. Forget about it.
We can now say that it seems to have an immediate impact where Banggood apparently are not delivering certain items all of a sudden. I don't know if that's because of it or what, but now some things won't arrive.
Frank?
Yeah, I mean, because obviously in my work, we import and we export to and from various EU countries, and it's made it very, very tricky at the moment. No one really knows what kind of paperwork is needed, and it's all very tricky. So yes, it's not fun, not having a fun time.
Just to add to the stress of other things that are going on.
Exactly, would not recommend. That would be my summary.
I'm going to try and order a flight controller and see whether Banggood tells me to, sorry, editor, fuck off.
You edit these shows?
Yeah, believe it or not.
Once we're out of the bad bits, it's significantly shorter. It's just full of the highlights.
Like a 3-minute podcast every week.
And then Tony goes,
How is the situation over there in Australia, Andrew? Are you able to get out and fly? Do you have plenty of space around you? And
yes,
can you carry on?
We had a run of 60 days with 0 new cases where I live and 0 deaths. So, but we're getting returned as people coming back from overseas, sort of bringing back your lovely new strain. So we do actually, although we've got very, very low cases, it means that they know exactly where the cases are. So the authorities in Victoria, where I am, and New South Wales, they'll immediately close the borders, basically, if there's a little breakout. There's a little breakout in Sydney at the moment. So, and it's only like, under 10 cases a day. But they'll close the border basically to stop it spreading. So they do go very hard at it here. And for the most part, we're sort of all on board. We don't have the idiot protesters,
that we
you
have.
know, yeah. Well, I was thinking more of the US, but yeah,
I think the US have got the worst of them. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. You know, Australia is meant to be a country of sort of rough nuts and larrikins, but the reality is we follow what our leaders tell us to do, basically, without too much hassle. Yeah, so we're free to do anything. We have to wear masks in any enclosed area like supermarkets or shops or anything like that, social distancing, but no other restrictions really at the moment.
Oh, that's cool. Sounds better than our nice
That's
lockdown.
good.
Yeah, you're
Makes
fully
sense.
locked down, are you? What's you get out for an hour a day or something? Or?
We're
We
specifically
can go out and exercise, but to be fair, it's absolutely bloody freezing outside. Nobody really wants
fair
to go
enough.
out at the moment.
Yeah.
Can you fly?
We're specifically like in the rules for the lockdown in the UK. It specifically says this does not include going outside for leisure and recreation. So I would take that
Right.
as flying.
It's
So it depends how you
exercise
read it.
only.
All the fields
Fun
are
is
shut anyway.
literally banned in the UK.
All the BMFA fields are shut. My airsoft's shut. Anything outside I do is not allowed. Apart from I can ride my bike, I think, for an hour or so. And go to work, which is outside.
As long as you don't have fun doing it, Tony, that's the main thing.
What, working or riding my bike?
Both. No fun is allowed, else it's breaking the rules.
No.
And it's going to be like this.
Ride the bike. No.
It's going to
What,
stay
look-
like this until the end of March, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and until
I'm asking because I'm not in the UK. And
I think
I'm in Europe.
I think the stat is 1 in 50 people have it at the moment, so it has to drop somewhere way lower than that.
So you know those like boat-shaped fish and chip trays that you get from the takeaway? Imagine one of them. Put a dog turd in it. Spray it full of lighter fluid, light it on fire, and then float it out on a pond. That's the UK right now. There you go.
Oh, you poor buggers.
Pretty much.
Yep.
But summer is coming. It's on
Yes.
its way.
Every day in the
It's
UK,
lighter
we're
like
getting
about
2 to 3 more
1 hour.
minutes of sunlight until June. It's getting
We're probably
brighter.
having our first summer's day today. We've had rain and wind for all leading up to this day. Today we've got 28 degrees and bright sunshine, so proper summer's day. But it's the first of the year, really.
Are the cicadas out yet?
1
Because that's
degree.
when you know it's Australia.
No, we don't get so many cicadas here. Yeah, no, that's in sort of the hotter areas, I suppose, a bit further north. I'm down south, which is cold in Australia.
No.
Well, coldish, 28 degrees.
Yeah, that 28
28
degrees. Ooh, I can feel the coldness there already.
No.
Yeah. No, we're sort of more not as hot and arid as the northern parts of Australia.
Well, it was 1 degree here today, pretty much all day.
Really?
Lovely it was.
Impressive.
At least it weren't in the negative.
No, it is now though.
Oh, lovely.
It's just looking
It's
at
about
it.
-2 now. Yeah.
How's your battery escapade going, Tone?
What one?
Your lions,
Yeah, Lion. Yeah.
not your wipos.
I was going to say, is it the Wipos? It's not at the moment. I've found no one who wants to weld them, solder them, whatever.
I'll weld them, but you got to buy a welder.
I saw one on Amazon. It was really cheap and cheerful for about 17 quid if you want that.
No, that's probably
Things you shouldn't buy cheap. Welders, parachutes, that sort of thing. Always be a bit suspicious when they're going for cheap.
I was going to give it to Jack. I wasn't going to use it. No, it's not. I have got some contacts that Spider has been talking to me in the chat, and I have got someone else sent me a contact the other day. So, yeah, don't know yet. It's not doing anything yet. Well, I mean, I can't even go out and fly for a month now, so I don't know. Don't know what I'm going to do. Our field's shut, and if you go out flying, it's 1 degree and I'm trying to do long range. I was so cold doing my long range video the other day. It was
Save it
horrific.
for summer, mate. Your testicles will appreciate it more.
They were warm. I had my woolly underpants on. It was just my fingers were so cold. And I work outside, so I'm kind of used to it. But it was just really, really cold.
Look what I got today. These turned up.
And you turn them on with a little battery.
No, they got just your fingers.
Is that electronic wank, mate?
These,
If it is, send the details on.
so gloves with just your thumb and 2 fingers.
Oh, they're actually. What, did they call them flying gloves?
They're astro gloves because they're for astronomy, like fiddling with your telescope.
Yeah, see.
That's what you want to call it.
I see we got Make Me Lab in the chat. I think Tony should tell him about that 1799 welder. He'd probably have that and see how much it blows up on his channel. That sounds like something he'd do.
It's on Amazon, Make Me Lab. I'll find it and send it to you.
Have you used any of the stickers I sent you, Andrew?
I have one on a plane somewhere. No, nothing nearby, but yeah, and it's in the background of all my shots too, so it'll be about that big in the background. So
a little smudge.
Yeah, definitely there.
I've got a painless keychain. It's pretty good.
So Andrew, have you gone over to the world of HD? Tony's very keen on his DJI goggles and won't touch anything else. Have you been doing this on your wings?
Just watch.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
He's even got the what is it, the Free Sky Pixel based OSD and everything, didn't you? You got some toys.
Oh yeah. I was just looking for your videos. It was good to see the HD ones. I just said, what is the Free Sky Pixel OSD? I've not heard of that.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of difference, really. It just means that the artificial horizon is a smooth line instead of little dashes so far, and you get scrolling numbers in the sidebars, but I don't have those things in my FPV view anyway. So it makes whether it's sort of graphical based or character based, that makes absolutely no difference for me. It's just new technology, I suppose, and. Frank was talking about the chips, about how big they were, and that sort of prompted me to investigate it a little bit further, because I actually didn't know anything about even though I've used the Pixel OSD, I didn't know the significance of it really, and yeah, it's just another OSD really. It doesn't make a lot of difference, I don't think yet, but I guess in the future. There'll be more. Yeah, there'll be more design. There'll be more. I don't know, setup, programming, image. Stuff available.
I guess it wouldn't be a bad thing. I remember when way long ago when the Vector came out for both fixed wing and it was a flight controller that could do fixed wing and multi-rotor, but it like had color and you could change it around a lot, and that was like a big deal, and it had all the scrolling stuff. And Betaflight is still using that same old Max chip, isn't it, which is a little bit limited in what it can do. I think then again, not many people look beyond like, that's my battery voltage, that's my flight time. But I think people want a little bit more when they're flying planes, and as soon as you start saying, okay, let's have the sort of artificial horizon, let's have my speed here and my altitude here, and let's put the GPS numbers here just in case it goes down. It's become a spreadsheet, and there's a lot less place to actually see where you're going.
Yeah, I'd prefer the view rather than the data. Well, it's good to have the data, but I prefer to see where I'm flying. I really don't like the artificial horizon and the scroll bars on the side. They're just in the way of the view, I think, and you just don't need it. No. The only reason I sort of like the OSD is to share it on a video so that you can show what the current draw is, or the whether it's rising or descending when you're in angle mode and stuff like that.
I've seen videos of people with so much stuff on their screen. It's like everywhere in the middle, and And I'm like, what are you doing?
It's terrible.
I saw
Anything
that.
they can have on, they turn on, and it's just madness.
That's
Sorry
the thing
to
about the
interrupt.
HD system. That the HD system is mind blowing as a flying experience, but you can't share the OSD data. I would switch totally to the HD system on all my planes if there wasn't the requirement for sharing the data on a video.
I think
Yeah.
Andy RC figured out a way of doing it.
I think he
You can do
uses some
bits.
telemetry info and then he generates an overlay to put onto his video later, as
Yeah.
opposed to having the actual stuff that's there, doesn't he?
I believe Painless
that's how
has
it works.
just released a good video explaining how to do that.
Good old Painless.
Yes.
I tell you what,
As
my
Caroline says there, OpenHD can. I don't know if you've tried that, Andrew. I've been experimenting with it, and
No, I haven't.
you might want to give it a try. It's particularly suited to fixed wing because there's about 100 millisecond delay round trip, which on a quad is difficult, but on a plane where you're up and cruising is interesting. It's a fun thing.
I must say I learned to add my PID values to the auto tune from you, Andrew Newton, in the OSD where it comes up with the PID, so you can see what they're doing and not getting game changer.
Then you know if it's actually saved, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't actually do a lot of tuning. I don't use iNav as a stabilization setup. Really, it's more just for the OSD and the return to home and maybe altitude hold. But I rarely fly in a fully stabilized mode. So I tend to, once you get enough control in acro mode, then I don't really bother about the P's and the I's and things like that. Doesn't make enough difference, and I'd prefer to fly in acro or manual anyway.
I'll make sure you get a stern email from Pavel about your general insubordination.
He's kind of the same though. He's recommended put your P's to 0 and just fly the thing basically.
Yeah, true. I know. Damn it, I forgot about that.
Because planes fly by themselves. They don't need a flight controller.
Yeah, true. I just chuck them up and they'll go mainly.
Yeah.
That's what's scary about them for me. That's why I don't like them. They just keep flying, you can't stop.
Quads just want to crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quads want to come back to Earth.
Yeah.
Very well. Oh, so have you got anything you're really looking forward to? Anything in the pipeline you can kind of hint about?
It's only this thing. This is the only thing that's sort of on my mind at the moment. It's taking up too much time, and I'm not getting anywhere, and I'm getting a bit frustrated because they've released it to me without telling me how to fly it or how to operate it. What else?
They seem to do that. These firms, don't they? They send Andy RC stuff and say, "Can you?"
Coming from the guy who literally bought Cyberpunk, I bought this game, but it's not finished.
Bloody rubbish, that game.
There's another one, the FR-Sky Pilot flight control board that has a sort of spot to integrate the receiver onto the board. They sent that to me, and it needed iNav 2.6, and that hadn't been released yet. And then there's the Pixel OSD that to get the Pixel OSD working, they had to give me a copy of the little app that updates the firmware, and that wasn't compatible with the version of operating system on the Mac. So I had to update to the latest operating system on the Mac, then sort of get this Pixel OSD app working. Sorry?
You now on Big Sur?
No, not yet. No, not yet. This is the previous version.
Don't do that to me.
No, I hang off because if it sort of breaks compatibility with iNav or OpenTX, then it's useless to me basically.
But you know what? Maybe that's how it works. They just send it to you. They pretend it's finished, and you just figure it all out for them.
Well, yeah, the feedback to FRSky, I'm sure they were developing it as I was telling them the problems that I was finding about it. I don't like being that person.
Debugging is for them.
Yeah, exactly. It amazes me that they do this. It's crazy.
I don't always test my code, but when I do, it's in production.
Yeah.
That does seem to be the new thing. Stuff is not finished. Stuff just gets released in beta, and then people say this doesn't work, and then everybody comes back and says, "Oh, don't worry, we're going to fix that," or "That's in progress. We'll have a fix that soon."
Well,
unless it's free Sky, and then they'll think about doing it and do an update if they feel like it.
Sorry, I've got a bit of a draft. All right. Well, I think should we call it there?
Been an hour.
It has been.
Andrew, it's been amazing. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Finally joining the legends that have been on Metro now. Now all we got to do is somehow me and Tony get that chat that me and you are in to try and make something happen. Shall I just start posting dates, my friend?
Just not yet. Not yet.
No worries.
It's a good chat.
Right. You've been joined by our master and overlord, Andrew Frank.
Bye.
Don't look at us like that. Look, you're very stressed out. We didn't run it by you because you're very stressed out. You've got a lot of reading to do.
I do have a lot of reading to do. It's very true. Very true.
It's for your own good. We're not up to anything. The legend, the man himself, Andrew Newton. Fantastic content. His link is below. Subscribe.
Thanks, guys. Nice to chat to you.
Everyone's favourite curry kitten.
Goodbye.
The lovely Blue Owl.
Bye.
She says, all mode 1 die.
No, I don't.
Oh my God, Blue Owl, what is wrong with you? Who let her on?
Everything.
And my little vegan sausage, Tony.
Bonjour.
Thanks to everyone in the chat. Thank you, Numbskull, Spider, Caroline, Mark. Thank you for joining. Tailspin, 50RC, Darnome. It was good to see you. Fraser, Blue Owl, whoever that is. Crash Test FPV, The Knowledge Within, Drone Pilot, Drone Flyer, Richard Warwick, Clive. All you guys, sorry if I missed anyone. Martin McFly, Winter Blue, RC Dude. Thank you guys. Numbskull. Thanks to all our Patreons. I will get Frank to order more fireworks so we can burn this place down. And Frank should release the regs as an audio book.
I like that.
Sleeping aid. Michael, thank you very much. Thank you. Good night. Thank you, Patreons. We love you.
Bye.